Okay. Thank you all for joining tonight. The training tonight is now that you're new or your spouse is too, what to do. So I know a lot of the people on this call probably already know what to do, but this is going to be good for those of you to pass on to your teammates or a good refresher when you've brought your spouse on recently, some strategies for being successful. So we want to maximize our time, maximize our effectiveness, maximize the compensation plan. Our relationships this is a chance to grow a relationship with our significant other, and certainly our goals. So let's jump right into this. So first and foremost, when you're either thinking about or you've just brought on your spouse, you need to make sure that your why is up to date. So you joined for a reason, and then your spouse, you had them join for a reason. So you want to make sure you know what that is. And more importantly, you want to make sure that your spouse knows what that is, that they've got their why. Not just because you've told them to do it and it's going to be great, but they've got some skin in the game. They have some goals and they're vested in this with you. So when you move the screen a little bit, you added your spouse or significant other, what was that why? Then you want to work backwards. So you want to have a goal and have a time that you want to make that goal by, and so you want to make a plan. So I'll give you an example. Jen and I, when I joined, the goal was ultimately for both of us to be dominants. Then we started making a plan for what it would take to get there, and having that goal in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, along the way we've had smaller goals like get to gold, get to senior gold, get to ruby, senior ruby, and then emerald. But ultimately, I joined this because I saw the potential of us both being diamonds, and we're going to talk about that. So in terms of the benefits of working together, first and foremost, and we're going to get into details on this here later, but the compensation plan. When you work together as a team, you are actually able to increase your total take-home income by anywhere from 22 to upwards of 30%. And I'll show you some math a little bit later on. But the compensation plan is one of the great benefits of working together. The next benefit is the rank bonuses. So as you started your Plexus journey and you hit silver and you hit gold, you got a $100 bonus and a $250 bonus. And you could learn some things along the way. I'm sure every person on this call tonight, however journey or however long it's taken you to get to your certain ranks, you've learned some things along the way. So when you bring your spouse or significant other on, you're actually able to avoid some of those pitfalls, and you can take those lessons learned and help them get to those goals and those ranks even faster than what you did. In other words, we're the snowplow. We've plowed the road and we've done all the hard work. They just have to kind of drive behind us and take the benefit of the path that we've created. So one of those rank bonuses is doing a fast start gold, which not many people do when they first join, but when they bring their significant other on, that's a great opportunity to say, we're going to get you fast start gold, and the benefit of that is double bonuses. So double silver, double gold, so a $700 bonus. We'll talk about how to do that here in a little bit. The next benefit of working together is the convention contest, the leaders retreat, and the Hawaii trip. All those things are doubled. So for Las Vegas, Jen and I both have our registrations refunded. We both have travel vouchers. If we both win winner's dinner, which we have, that means we could take a guest. So we've got 4 seats instead of just 2. At Leaders Retreat, it's the same thing. All those things are doubled because we're working together. And then lastly, and especially this year, when I earn the trip to Hawaii, she's already earned it, but when I earn it as an emerald, we'll get 2 rooms. We'll get 2 sets of tickets. So, essentially 4 tickets, airline tickets to Hawaii. That means we bring our kids paid for. It also means that we'll have 2 rooms, which means there'll be a room for our kids and room for ourselves. Diamonds don't get that privilege right now unless they have a spouse. They used to be able to get 2 rooms, now they get 1. So again, doing this together, you get to double everything. And then I think this is critical too, is that you can maximize each other's strengths and reduce the weaknesses. And I'll show you later on, I'll kind of peel back the layers and talk about what my weaknesses are and what Jen's weaknesses are, and vice versa with our strengths. But you're able to balance each other and work together as a team. And, it'll strengthen a marriage, it'll test it, but it'll certainly help you communicate on a whole new level if you allow it to do so. Okay, so let's talk about the how. So whether you're considering to bring your spouse on board, or they just joined, or maybe even they've been doing it a while, it's not been working, and you want to think about doing this better. The first thing in terms of the how is you've got to communicate. And maybe in your marriage you're great communicators already, but perhaps it's not been your best forte so far. To make Plexus work for you and your spouse, you've got to become great communicators. You're going to start with your goals and your dreams and just talk about, what are some things that you want to see out of the business? What are some things that you want to see change in life? If you haven't dreamed before, this is a great opportunity to allow yourself to dream now and think about ways that you can completely change the dynamic of your family from a financial perspective. So communicate those things. The next is knowing that there's 90-10 and there's 10-90 days. So not always is this a 50-50, hey, you're going to do this and I'm going to do this and it's going to be equal. In many cases, there's days where it's 90% Jen doing the work and 10% doing the work. And there are days, like this past weekend, where I told Jen to unplug. She was drained. She needed to recuperate. Where it's a 10% Jen day and a 90% Phil day. But what happens is when you have a 90-10 and a 10-90, they all balance out, become 50-50. So just know that 50-50 doesn't always look like that. Sometimes it's 90-10, sometimes it's 10-90. Determine each other's strengths and discuss what the expectations are from the jump. So one of the big things that we've done really well, and other times we fail, is that we figure out what does well and what Phil does well and what Jen struggles with and what Phil struggles with. And I'll talk about that specifically later on. But really setting expectations from the jump. Not just, hey, I'm signing you up, and you don't know why, but really set some expectations that, hey, we're going to do this together because it's going to allow me to reach my goals. It's also going to allow us to get some great benefits in terms of the things I mentioned on the previous slide. And get your spouse to buy in. Get them to support you. Get them to understand that, hey, my expectation is that we're going to communicate, that you're going to support me, and I'm going to support you, and that we're going to do this as a team because we're going to benefit as a family. And the last thing is, I say plan. Jen and I don't spend hours a day planning the day or planning the week or planning the month, but we do dedicate time on a weekly basis. Even if it's 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to dedicate some time to planning the day, planning the week, planning the vision for the team. I'll show you a little bit later what that looks like. Okay, so that's that. Let me tell you one of the things that is really important for your spouses. And again, listen, I know most of my audience is female, and you're bringing your husbands into this. And so one of the big motivators for doing so is getting them to understand the comp plan and seeing from a financial standpoint the benefit of bringing your spouse on. So I want to touch on that. So in terms of the compensation plan, there's 11 different ways that we get paid. And I won't touch on 11 ways, but a majority of those ways allow you to bring your spouse in and actually allow you to double or increase dramatically what you're earning if you're doing it on your own. So in terms of double compensation, the 5% override. So this means that Jen has level ones, and let's say she's got 10 of them. She's going to earn 5% on their PV, their personal volume, their sales, each and every month. Now what happens is, if I'm underneath her, okay, She's whatever I do in PV, she's getting 5% as well. The beautiful thing is everyone I add underneath me is a level 1. I'm earning 5% on them. So guess what? She's got 5% on level 1s. Technically, she's getting 5% all of my level 1s since we share our income, and this is a joint deal. So we're doubling that 5%. We're also doubling our pay points. So someone that Jen would have as level 1 would give her 5 points. But as you all know, level 1s, 2s, level 3s give you 5 points and pay points as well. So when someone comes under me, they're a level 2 for her, they're level 1 for me. Well, that means that she's getting 5 points, I'm getting 5 points. We've now doubled our pay points with the same person. So if I was not involved, Jen would get 5 points, but because we start to stack people underneath me, I'm getting 5, she's getting 5. That person now gives us double the points that we would have gotten if they were just under Jen. The cars, as I mentioned before, when I hit Emerald, that means we'll have 2 cars. When Jen hits Diamond, she'll have a black car, I'll have a white car. When I hit Diamond, we'll both have really nice big cars. When we bring our kids in underneath us, we'll have cars. So the cars are never ending when you join and you become you hit the jewel levels. And then the last critical one is the business builder bonuses. When someone does a $99 pack, the level 1 gets $24.75 of that, and then $12.50. And forgive me, I might be off a little bit on the math. $12.50, I think $9 or $7.50, and then down to $5 for level 4. So again, same thing. Jen has someone that's interested. She puts them under me. They buy a $99 welcome pack. I get $24.75. She gets $12.50. We've now earned $37 on a level 1 that would have normally paid only $24. So again, a 50% increase on that pay for just business builder bonuses. Next, the rank bonuses. Again, like we just talked about, you've kind of paved the way. Now you've got 30 days to get your spouse to Fast Start Gold, and that really means that you get 20 ambassadors, level 1, 2, and 3, to join the team in the first 30 days. Now, as long as they have their auto ship on and they've bought a welcome pack, they're going to count towards being, they're called phantom points. That counts as getting your spouse to Fast Start Gold. Even if those points don't turn, as long as they buy the welcome pack and they have the auto qualification on, and you have 20 of them, you will hit Fast Start Gold. And those bonuses double. So the $100 for silver becomes $200, and the $250 for gold becomes $500. Now you get $700 in the first 30 days from your spouse participating and becoming Fast Start Gold. The other thing about maximizing the comp plan is that when you're doing this together as a spouse, and we talked about this on our team as a whole, that goal is to get to $500, and then once we hit that 1,000 threshold, we want to start converting customers to personal use ambassadors. But when you implement this strategy with your spouse, you want to get yourself to $500, and then, as tough as this may seem, you want to start dumping all that PV and all those customers to your spouse because you're going to earn more income. And so let me just quickly show you how that works. Let's say Jen gets $500 in PV, and then she's really has $1,000 more in PV. She puts that underneath me. Okay, so now she's earning her 25% on her 500. We'll just call it 500, not that's the $100 here and there. She's earning 25% on her 500. I'm earning 25% on 1,000, which means she's earning it too. And in addition, she's getting that 5% override. So now really we're making 30% on our money on the PV versus just 25%. So again, you get yourself to 5 to maximize the comp plan, $500, and then start putting everything underneath your spouse. And again, there might be instances where you might put a customer here. You might get 600, 700. You might want to maximize a convention contest and do a little bit more. It's fluid. But in general, our plan is to always get Jen to 500 and then shove everything else under me. So in terms of pride, that's one of the things where you have to work. If pride's an issue and you really want the recognition that this is all my PV and my husband had nothing to do with it, this may not be the best strategy for you. But if you're truly locked in a team that you're going to push each other up and that your family's going to benefit from it, it doesn't really matter who's got it. Okay. And then the last thing in terms of the compensation plan, you want to make sure that you continue to grow wide so that you can grow deep. So we implement a strategy of one for you, one for them to create some balance. And once Jen got to 50 or 60 level 1 ambassadors, we started putting literally, it was about 2 for 1. So every 2 came to me, or every 3 came to me, and every 1 came to her. Again, it was based on the different convention contests going on or leadership contests going on. But essentially, we try and balance it out to where we try and put a majority of the new, once you get to gold, essentially, majority of the new ambassadors under your spouse so that you can benefit from all the things I mentioned above. Okay, we'll have some time for questions at the end, so I'm going to keep rolling. So let me tell you how the mangoes do it, just from start to finish. Here's how we work as a team and getting each other to the dream of being double diamond. Typically, Jen has an idea, and I find the holes in the plan, or vice versa. I might have this great idea for implementing a contest or implementing a strategy, and Jen will poke holes, and we'll talk it out and work through it until we both feel like it's a good plan to put in place. Because Jen started the business first, and because in this area she undoubtedly has amazing passion, she sets the vision, and I really help her execute on that vision. That's how our dynamic works. It might be different for your family. Your husband or your significant other might say, I have a vision for this, and you might be the one who helps execute on the plan or strategically work to make sure the vision's captured. If I get a lead, even though I'm in sales and I close people all the time, when it comes to Plexus, I'm much better at farming opportunities and then saying, I'm going to have my wife talk to you. And she is a closer, which is really fun to see in our marriage because it hasn't always been that way. So in our family, I'll drum up leads and then I'll pass them to Jen to close. And she does a great job of doing that. In terms of posting on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, we both do our separate posts to try and market for opportunities. And then when it comes to our team, she and I communicate on a majority of the posts, and we'll bounce back and forth. I have an idea. I'm going to post. What do you think? Go for it. Vice versa. And so we try and communicate and tag each other on posts for our team and our leaders. And then when it comes to operations, Jen gives me all the technical and reporting responsibilities. So whether it's an issue with back office or just running our reports and understanding what we're doing, that falls on me. And when it comes to customer issues, whether they're my customers or her customers, she gets to handle that since she's got the Emerald line and she can get through faster. When we host a team meeting, typically once a month, the day before, sometimes it's never a few hours before. Usually the day before, we'll start talking about it. We've been thinking about it for a week or two and just bouncing some different ideas. But the day before is when we get together for probably 15 or 20 minutes. We sit in my office, or I'll sit with her in our bedroom, and we'll just map out the plan and the vision and our agenda and who's going to handle what. And that's how we come up with our monthly meetings, typically the day before. I like to say that Jen handles all the promotions, so she knows who's tracking in terms of points, and she's communicating with leaders about who's going to hit a certain level. And I get the fun job of putting together the canvas, trying to make them very girly and very cute, but she is technically challenged, so that's my job. That's my role. And then lastly, Jen tells me when she needs a break, and I pick up the slack. I tell her when I'm overwhelmed.
They can't hear you.
Another job.
Okay,
You
good.
take as much as you can off my plate, and vice versa.
Fine soon.
So that's how the mangoes do it. I'm going to mute here real quick. Okay. Next slide. Okay. This is also important in terms of how we do it, how we reach our goals. And this is some core things. And just know we are not perfect. We're not the perfect couple. We have our knockdown, drag out discussions, and at the end of the day, we always come to a conclusion and a solution. But this is some of our core beliefs and things that we operate on a daily basis. Never, someday, and hopefully are not in our vocabulary. I hope to reach Emerald, someday. I've never thought of doing something in that way. So those are not part of our vocabulary, and I would encourage you all to not let that become or creep into yours. Using powerful words attract powerful people. We speak life at all times, and we push away negative thoughts and negative people. This is something that we've developed over the last few years, and we love all people. We give people grace. We extend it as much as we can. But if you're a negative Nelly, we have no problem being direct and saying, how's that working for you? Is that negativity getting you where you want to be? Because we don't play in that sandbox. So we encourage you to do the same. Another big thing that we do is we visualize. We allow ourselves to dream, but not be captive to those dreams. So we don't daydream. We put work and action into our faith and our belief. But we absolutely take time to visualize and speak about things that make no sense in the physical realm. Like today, talking about to our son how excited we are that he's going to go to USC in a few years, and that we're going to purchase a condo near the beach so we can be close to him when he goes to school. I don't have the $2 million right now to purchase that condo. He hasn't been accepted to USC and won't apply for 2 years. But those are the kinds of things that we speak and we visualize and we discuss daily. We also refuse to let a bad hour, a bad phone call, a bad day affect our drive and determination. Very rarely will we sit there and pull up the covers and just wish that the day would end or the day would start over. It does nothing. So when you have a bad day, I tell my daughter and my son to do the most important thing, which is take a deep breath and then just let it out and move on. Because at the end of the day, it's all you can do. We also believe in celebrating the small victories at all times. Someone getting their first ambassador is just as exciting as somebody turning gold or senior gold or ruby. We love the small victories and we celebrate them because those small victories lead to great accomplishments on the big things, the big victories. This is also important to us, is that, and we hope it's important to you, is that we stay authentic, truthful, and straightforward at all times. I try to extend grace and ask for it in return. You're going to find as you're building a team and as you're working together, you need to extend grace to your significant other, and they should extend grace to you, because there's going to be some stressful times. There's going to be some pitfalls and some things that you don't anticipate. But you have to stay authentic to who you are. Don't change who you are, because what you are has gotten you here and what's going to get you to greater levels. So stay true to that. And then lastly, we share every day, every way, and in any way we can, with passion, persuasion, and unabashed enthusiasm, because we trust Plexus and we believe in the products. That is by far, if we were to put it on our headstone, which hopefully is many, many years from now, that would be there. Jen had some childhood friend come over just out of the blue, visiting from Los Angeles, California. We were really excited to see them. Her husband meet him and her young 2-year-old. And we had a great hour visiting. And they are health conscious, and all of a sudden he started complaining about irritation with asthma. Guess what? They see her post. They've known us. They've known my wife for 25 years, and they've seen her post for 3 years, but we still say, let me go get you a sample of Plexus because Jen had asthma, my son had asthma, and this stuff works. It deals with inflammation and gut issues, and it will make a difference in you. Not it may help or it's helped. It will make a difference. Cool. Looks at the label, sees it's all natural. This is awesome. Great. We're going to get you on Triplex. That's what we do. They just came over to see us. We had no intention to sell, but we always are intentional about sharing when the opportunity arises, and we do it unabashed because we believe in the products so much. Okay, last slide. So as you're thinking about or you've brought on your spouse, the goal should always be to get them to silver and 7. You do this by making a Frank's list, and a Frank's list stands for friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighborhood neighbors, kids connections, and social organizations. All those different people that you run in, typically a circle of influence that you have is anywhere from 250 to 450 people. So I'm just saying make a list of 120. Don't predetermine whether they're skinny, they're fat, they're healthy, they're not. Just make a list using those different criteria: friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids connections, and social organizations. And then go after and reach out and say, this is what my significant other, my spouse and I are doing. We want you to be a part of it. Do you have 5 minutes to share so I can tell you about the benefits of the products and see if this is something you'd be interested in? Silver and 7. The second goal should be to fast start gold. And I mentioned that earlier. All that requires is getting 20 ambassadors, whether they're level 1, 2, or 3s, making sure that they buy a welcome pack and they have their AutoQual on, and that means you've turned Fast Start Gold in your first 30 days. That's a $700 bonus, and it completely changes the dynamic of your team. I'll pause here for a second because I want to touch on this. Promotions yield success and drive what I call the flywheel. A flywheel is quite simply a mechanical device that when you put energy into it, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but as soon as it starts spinning, it actually reverses. It gets easier and then starts spinning on its own to where you don't have to do any work and it just keeps spinning. Getting to gold and senior gold is the flywheel effect, to where your team feels this inertia, this excitement. They're seeing promotions. They see that it's real. They see the opportunity is real. And you'll just start to see people joining without you doing any of the work. It happens, I promise you. And the thing is, people want to be associated with people who are going places. And when you're promoting, you're going places, and people buy into that. They want to be a part of that. We all want to be a part of a winner. I know we've got a big Penn State contingent. It's been tough the last few years, but one of the reasons that you love Penn State is because they're excellent in things that they do, and they win a lot. It's fun to be part of that. So an organization that does things the right way and wins a lot is it's fun to be a part of. And you all are winners, and you're creating winning organizations, so people are going to want to join. So get to that fast start goal because you get more people, more excitement, more inertia, and things start spinning. In terms of the mechanics, start with that fast start guide that you get in your welcome pack. It's the fold up, flip out, 10 points, 10 steps to fast starting gold or to starting with Plexus. Get after it and get after it quickly. And then we make companion videos to go with each point, steps 1 through 10, listed on the team page. 3-minute videos each. So in 30 minutes, you could knock out all 10 points and then get after it. And then lastly, be a product of the product, drink pink and move. Not just the drink pink part, but really move. Be active in your life, in your family, and in your business. Okay. So that's my presentation this evening. I'll stop sharing the screen here and I will love to take some questions.
Okay, I want to jump real quick. So I have a couple that just joined this weekend during the 15%.
Yeah,
I had him put his fiance first and then him underneath her because she's been taking the product, but he's motivated with the business.
got it.
So I want to know what makes more sense to put everybody, like as far as customers and ambassadors, underneath him right now, or should we build her until she's silver and then do him, or like what would be the best way to start the two of them off
Got it.
right?
So let me make sure that I got this straight. Which one's directly underneath you and which one's directly underneath the other?
So his fiance is underneath Logan,
Okay.
and then he is underneath her.
Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get her silver. So add 2 more so that she turns silver. We could, and then start doing, and then get him silver, and then start a 1-to-1 strategy to where she's going wide and he's going wide at the same time. When she gets to about 20 ambassadors, that's when you want to start floating everyone else underneath him, because that way she's wide enough and she'll have enough legs. Because as you remember, to be able to grow and achieve the different ranks, you need to have 15% of your points in an outside leg. So by having 20 ambassadors wide, you're kind of guaranteeing that there'll be other legs that grow while he's growing as well. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Get them
Yes.
to silver, and then I say a 1-to-1 strategy. And they get, again, it's a feel thing. So if they know that there's going to be someone that is going to be a rock star and is coming in, and just you can tell. Maybe they put, when it might be her turn to have an ambassador, they put it under him, or vice versa. There's no great science to it, but I just say get them both to silver, and then start going 1-to-1 on each.
Okay, so so my thoughts on it is, if in order to go gold, you have to have 3 personally, and then the rest of them come from your outside leg. So wouldn't it make more sense, and I'm just questioning, just because I want to be sure that I'm coaching them in the right way?
Yeah.
Because I started them off this way, so I want to make sure I'm saying it right.
Okay.
If we put her silver, and then we put the rest of the people underneath him, wouldn't that help her rank up to fast start? Let's just say I already told them about fast start gold, so we want to fast start gold her.
Yeah.
And then
you could fast start gold both of them if they're that on fire. I mean, but yes, for her, because she's directly under Logan, it would make sense to fast start gold her first. And if he's really motivated, he'll get her gold, and then he'll probably get himself gold right after that. So yes, that makes sense too. In terms of customers, again, to maximize the comp plan, you would want to get her to 500 and then start shoveling customers underneath him, so they 30% instead of 25.
Okay, I see. Okay, so I did tell him wrong earlier. Then I told him put him underneath you, but really what you're saying is I need to put her at 500 PV first and then start shoveling customers to him. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Great questions. Good. Anybody else?
I have a question for you, Phil. You had said that you get Jen to 500 first, and then you start dumping it into you.
So so yes and no. In other words, yes, along the way I'm growing as well. I've got customers that that are on preferred, that are coming on at the same time. But our whole goal when we started was, let's get you to 500 first, and then we'll start putting customers underneath me. So now they're coming on at the same time, if that makes sense. We have someone with an auto ship that's on the 5th, another one that's on the 8th, and so on and so forth. But each and every month, I have more PV than she does, because we've moved so many customers to me versus her.
So do they sign up under her and then you transfer to you?
No. No. They were no. So she's got customers that, so I'll put it this way. we'll have customers under her that will become personal use ambassadors, and then her PV will drop. And so we need to get that back to 500, and so we'll add customers to her. And vice versa. My PV might be at $1,000, and as we create personal use ambassadors out of them, we'll start flowing more customers back to me to maximize. So it's just about getting rid of 500 and putting the rest underneath me. It just, it's a balancing act that we both talk about. So when she has someone that's interested in triplex, for example, like the people that were here today, we'll figure out where does it make sense to put them. Do we think that they'll become a personal use ambassador down the road? Sure. Okay, let's put them underneath me, so that way if they become personal use ambassadors, then we're continuing to grow me wide. Or conversely, it might say, yeah, you're only at $370 or $380 in PV. Let's get this couple underneath you. And if they become a personal use, that's great. We still need to grow you wide as well. So it's, again, it goes to communication and figuring out strategically what makes the most sense.
Okay, so you're just adding new customers to which either side needs it.
That's exactly right. Yep,
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Great question.
So I'm jumping in again. I'm sorry. I'm probably taking up too much time.
But,
okay, so since we added Logan this month, April 1st, I've been putting everybody underneath him. Every customer, every ambassador, even like the couple I just talked about.
Yeah.
He was underneath me, but I had him change his email and his phone number to go underneath Logan. Thank you, Tanner. He's not on this call. But I was trying to figure out how to do that so that we could help hopefully fast start gold Logan. So my question is, should I try to fast start gold him this month? And then if it doesn't, I mean, it will happen, right? It's going to happen. He's going to turn gold. Sorry. We got to make sure we use the right vocabulary here.
That's right.
So when he turns gold, then after that, we'll go 1-to-1.
That makes the most sense.
Okay.
Depending on what the rest of your organization looks like, Sherry, if you've got some other stronger legs, you can continue to funnel things under Logan. You just have to look at it in your genealogies, take a look at your teams, what they're doing. You just want to make sure you continue to go wide. And it's a, I hate to use this term that it's a kind of a feel thing, but it is. If hey, there's been times when I said, hey, you know what, this particular person, let's not put her or him under me. Let's put them under you because they're going to respond better to you and they might really grow. And we want that outside leg to grow. It's okay. We're doing fine over here. But in this stage of the game, especially for Sherry, get him to gold. And then once he's there, you can figure out where to start putting people after that. Same for Taryn as well.
I was just going to ask, how wide should I get myself before everyone just goes to him? Because right now, everyone's going to him.
Yeah. So how many level ones do you have right now that are, let's just say, total, not necessarily active or inactive?
I think like about 35.
Yeah. I think you put everyone underneath him, and then you might want to focus on getting to that magic number like we talked about on previous calls. That majority of diamonds have anywhere from 45 to 75 level ones.
Okay, so like get him to gold and then start going wide again.
Yeah, exactly. Get to that 45, 50 number and then start. And again, you might add 2 to you, 1 to him, or 1 to you and 2 to him and go back and forth. Just be strategic about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Great questions.
This is not a question, Phil, but I was going to say something that I think I heard Jen Wiggins saying, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
When Jen Mango recruited me,
yes,
I had never talked to Phil. I didn't know anything about him. And when I got ready to move when I upgraded to ambassador, she simply said, I'm going to have you join under my husband. And I just said, okay. Yeah. So I think maybe Jen Wiggins, maybe I misunderstood. I heard that a little bit in your question, like, how do you do that if your husband hasn't recruited that person? Because a lot of times the significant other isn't recruiting as much as the one person. Does that make sense?
It's a great statement, and it actually presents an opportunity to share the greater benefits of our compensation plan. So you take that, I'm going to actually have you sign up under my husband, and then you say, And the cool thing is, because Plexus allows us to work as a couple and actually maximize the compensation plan. So listen, I'm still going to be helping you. He and I work together, but for us to actually make more income, we do it this way. And you could too if you'd like.
That's
So
good.
yeah.
I also have started calling it our family link.
Cool.
So they see that it's their sponsor is Logan, but I call it our family link because that's what it is.
That's right.
So.
We're all in this together. I love it.
That's great, Sherry. I like that.
When I signed Mike up last week, I made his website say Team Caldwell. So
Sweet.
And
cool.
I don't know if Taryn or Katie Wheel or somebody told me to do that. And so that way it wasn't quite so weird when I gave people that website and he hadn't talked to them at all.
That's perfect. And you can, again, we've talked about GoDaddy and using a forwarding account. We weren't that smart in advance. We did Jen's Plexus and Phil's Plexus, but in hindsight, we probably could have done Mango Plexus to avoid any of that. But I just think it creates a great opportunity to share the value of our compensation plan that spouses can work together, because there are other companies out there that don't allow this at all, or what they call double dipping. So ours does, and I think it's a great benefit and worthy of sharing. Cool. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. And again, I thank you all for being here. This was great. And hopefully those that are watching this recorded realize that there's a great benefit to working together.